The anime begins as we see a glimpse of our protagonist, Akira Tendou, a 21-year-old man who is fed up with his exploitative job. With the first few frames shown before the flashback, it is very obvious that Akira's living situation is terrible and horrible at the same time, as his room is filled with trash of all sorts. He is seen having supper while watching a zombie show on the television and wishing it was his life instead. Following this, we see a flashback of his life before. It was 3 years ago when he had just got his dream job of being hired by a production company where he planned to make commercials and even maybe meet some famous people. On the very first day before he speaks with Kosugi, the department chief, he meets Sayori Ootori, a young and charming lady from the accounting department, and secretly falls madly in love with her. After working hours, Akira and his work colleagues go for dinner at a nearby restaurant, and they ask him questions about college and other things. Akira sees Sayori at the bar and vows to work hard to make a good impression on her. Akira feels as if things are finally falling into place for him, but everything soon takes a turn for the worse. It turns out that the dinner was just a short break from work and that he still needs to do overtime with his colleagues. Suddenly, everyone's personality changes and they become mindless worker drones. Akira takes notice of their weird behavior at work and wonders what's happening. As if this wasn't bad enough, some of his colleagues at work often talk about working for hundreds of unpaid hours and stating the job's employee-friendly policies such as annual paid vacations, anniversary days off, and mental health days at work. After getting subjected to several all-nighters and brutal working conditions at work, Akira returns home exhausted. He wakes up with less sleep, however, he is determined to give it his best shot. Akira's youth and energy helped him get through at first, but even his bright resolve was soon defeated by the company's high workload standard. Akira slowly starts losing his sanity as he starts hating his job. But amidst all of these problems, he finds some consolation in the fact that he gets to meet Sayori, the woman he secretly loves. Sadly, this little happiness turns into a nightmare when Akira learns that she is having an affair with their boss. He slowly becomes used to his lifestyle, but stays at the same company even though it makes him miserable. He questions if he should find another job, but realizes he may not have time to look for another one, or may not even get any other better one, and he doesn't want his team at work to pick up his slack. In his third year, Akira becomes more stressed out with working days and nights, forgetting when he last bathed, and relying on vending machines or Sayori for meals. It even gets to the point where he begins to contemplate suicide by jumping in front of a fast-moving train because his expectations of a good life are over and he has given up on his dreams. He returns home and watches several TV shows that discuss workplace etiquette and the importance of workers' safety and health. Akira wakes up sleep-deprived again and notices a letter on his door that reminds him he forgot to pay for his bike space. Akira visits his building's manager to discuss the situation with him, but didn't get a response when he got there. He sees the manager's door open and decides to go in. He is shocked to find him eating another human, and he realizes the manager has turned into a zombie. Suddenly, an army of bloodthirsty zombies chase after Akira as he questions what's happening. After thinking things through, Akira becomes joyful about the zombie apocalypse since it means he doesn't have to go to work anymore. After he finds some place to rest after being chased down by an army of zombies, he contemplates what he should do now that he has enough free time. He thinks about Sayori's safety and says he'd rather get eaten by zombies than hold in his feelings for her. So, he takes the risk and decides to head to her apartment. Standing outside her door, Akira feels a bit scared, not sure whether he should even be there, but then gathers all his courage and goes in. He enters Sayori's apartment and notices his boss is inside and has been zombified. Akira tells his boss about his resignation from work and then pushes his boss through the window and onto the street below before he could attack him. Akira then turns his attention towards Sayori and notices that he was too late because she was already turning into a zombie. He goes ahead to confess his love for her even though she obviously doesn't understand him anymore. When she starts chasing him, Akira runs as fast as he can while saying his last goodbye to his first love. Later that evening, he takes a rest in front of an abandoned store and thinks about what he should do with his life. He feels that life is always unpredictable, and now that he is in the situation that he is in, he decides to live life to the fullest instead of regretting anything. We then see Akira going into a store, purchasing a pen and notebook, and turning it into a 100 things bucket list. Akira wakes up from a nightmare, relieved that he doesn't have to go to work due to the zombie apocalypse. He enjoys his time drinking beer and cleaning his home. Meanwhile, a news reporter reports on the chaos caused by the zombies, but unfortunately she gets attacked. Watching this, Akira ponders his situation briefly before deciding to have more beer. Unfortunately, he eventually runs out of beer and understands he has to stop by a local store to get more. He chooses to use a pipe to go down because the staircase is crowded with zombies. As he goes down, Akira meets Mr. and Mrs. Kosaka, who are surprised by his daring choice. Still, Akira kindly asks if they need anything before continuing. Finally, he reaches the shop, feeling joyful, and casually enters, humming a made-up song about beer. Suddenly, he spots a woman gathering essential supplies, and her beauty captivates him. Akira gets some beer and tries to exchange contacts with her so they can keep in touch because she is one of the few survivors he has seen. She refuses to give it to him, but she does emphasize Kira's casual attitude toward the crisis, risking his life for beer, and the fact that he doesn't seem to take anything seriously, both of which might negatively affect her chances of surviving. She told him that she would never team up with someone who doesn't have his priorities straight. When the zombies start entering the store, Akira ignores her, but she remains calm and all of a sudden grabs and pushes Akira to the floor, saving him from a truck that crashes into the store to kill the zombies. Akira thanks her, but without saying a word, she goes away and Akira is left thinking about how she could have predicted something like that. Akira realizes his bike has been damaged by the truck's impact, so he finds a motorcycle and uses it to return home, changing it to a more satisfactory one on his way home. Later, when he arrives at his building, he tries to call Mr. and Mrs. Kosaka, but is shocked to learn that they have been killed by zombies. Akira then sits in his apartment that night, contemplating his life, and makes a long list of things he wants to do before turning into a zombie himself. One of them includes going to meet his parents and spending time with his buddy, whom he has not seen in a long while. We then jump to a flashback involving the woman Akira first met at the shop. She is exercising while listening to the emergency transmission on her radio and TV. She makes several attempts to get in touch with the LA station, but gets no answer. As a result, she spends some time drafting a list of precautions to take. With her binoculars, she observes the outside zombie types and takes notes. She then leaves her house with her camera-installed bicycle to monitor the situation outside while she's obtaining the necessary and important supplies needed for her survival of the zombie apocalypse. While she was at this, she was tempted to get one of her favorite desserts, sakura mochi, but fought the urge to do so as it goes against one of the 100 things she has to do to avoid becoming a zombie, which is to minimize sugar intake. In a sudden turn of events, Akira bursts into the store, cheerfully singing his beer song. As the scene unfolds, we get a glimpse of the situation from the girl's perspective, and she reflects on her observations of Akira at that moment. Interestingly, the girl has a camera mounted on her bike, which captured the entire incident as it unfolded. Thanks to the camera, she saw the car heading toward the store just before the collision occurred. Later, after returning home, she reviews the footage of her bike's camera and discovers that she had unintentionally recorded Akira just before he entered the building. The episode concludes with her pondering whether she should have purchased the sakura mochi from the store during her visit. And that's the end. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments section if you want a part 2, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.